Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here. So I don't know if I'm going to put in the title that this is a VR to the May Queen or not, because what I've done is I've essentially created my own spread, but anybody else can do that too. So it's the May Queen is a new channel, Tarot Tube channel. And she did a spread called the Autumn Leaves spread, I think. Autumn Leaves in some regard. In the title. It's a 5-card spread. I will put a link to her video down in the description box. One of the things that I liked about it was that she used Mags's Tree Oracle, and I'm not sure what that, I don't know if it's the Tree Spirit Oracle. I apologize. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but I see, people talk about it, but I don't see people use it very often, and she used that oracle, so that was neat. That was interesting to see her use that and interpret it. She did ask for suggestions also. She had, for the last card that she pulled, she asked for suggestions from any viewers about what it might mean. So again, link down in the description box. Hop over there, check out her channel. She seems like a really lovely person and is doing some cool things, asking herself cool questions. So yeah, go check her out and check out her Autumn Leaves spread. What I'm going to do is different, but she inspired me. So I thought about autumn leaves, and I just thought about the experience of autumn in general, and how I have experienced the changing of leaves, over that. So mine ends up being a little bit more focused on leaves, I think, and trees, and anyway. Here's my version of an autumn leaves spread. You can either, if you want a VR, you can use mine. I'll put it down in the description box. You can use the one that the May Queen used on her channel. Great name, the May Queen, a great name for a channel. Yeah, or you can come up with your own. And there's, you can call it the Autumn Leaves spread, and that way we'll find it. There have been some really neat tags going around. And I've been watching, but I haven't participated, so this is a return to VR. I felt like my channel needed something other than the Hush Tarot, which will continue to come out, some readings using the Hush Tarot, but I chose not to. I chose to bring out the Fairies. Fairies Oracle. In fact, it's kind of funny because I thought I was reaching, yeah, the Norse Tarot would be a good deck to use for this, and this deck is near there, and so I thought I was reaching, so this is very fairies, right? I thought I was reaching for the Norse Tarot and pulled it out. I mean, I'm pretty zoned out a lot of times anyway, but I reached for it, and I opened it, and I said, what am I doing? This is the Fairies Oracle. And I put it back, and, it did put a question in my mind, like, well, maybe the Fairies Oracle, but I put it back, and then I looked at the Norse Tarot, and I thought, no, it's the Fairies Oracle. That weird mistake. I don't usually reach for a deck and then pull out a different deck. That weird situation was the fairies saying, we want to do this tag. All right, so question number 1. And I have my book out because I have neglected the fairies, so maybe they will punish me for that. Actually, not completely. I had them out for a personal reading not that long ago, but let's see what they have to say, and I will probably be consulting the guidebook to some extent. Number 1, what is exiting without resistance? So my thought here was, at least down in the American South, there tend to be like early leaves before anything turns, and this can happen even in August. There are leaves detaching and falling, like without prompting whatsoever. They're just falling. It's one of the signs of late summer or the end of summer. All right, and I have Iris of the Rainbow. Oh, I don't want Iris to go, but we'll look at the reversed meaning also. You know what I feel like doing? I feel like pulling the cards and then I'll go to the guidebook. So let's do that. What is exiting without resistance? Iris of the Rainbow. Number 2, what will go through a beautiful dramatic change before departing? So this is the traditional fall colors, you know, where the leaves turn red or orange or yellow or a combination thereof. And even the rust color of some of the oak trees can be really beautiful. So what will go through a beautiful dramatic change before departing? The Master Maker. Well, the fairies are giving me mysteries because I don't know who exactly that would be. Unless this is talking larger time schemes, then I was thinking, which would be this fall into the winter. Very interesting. All right, number 3, what is the nature of the wind that will shake things loose? So, again, here in the fall, this is where I've experienced this particular thing. In the fall, a lot of times the trees will hold on to their leaves for quite a long time. And then, usually, the remnants of a hurricane will pass through, and all of the loose leaves that have not fallen will be stripped from the trees. So, and you're like, gosh, you know, that's like, boom, like overnight. You have bare trees. You have full trees and then you have bare trees. And it's not because it's like a 100-mile-an-hour wind, because we get remnants of hurricanes. We don't get the hurricanes themselves. I'm in northern Alabama, so we don't get the brunt of a hurricane. But you know, we can get 30 and plus mile-an-hour winds or winds that are gusting like that. And so that's what's stripping the trees. So yeah, what is the nature of that wind that comes through and strips everything? Oh my goodness, the Singer of Connection. So to me that starts to indicate that it is connections that will help bring change, that will facilitate change. All right. Number 4, what will hang on and nag you through windy winter nights until new growth replaces it? So this comes from more my northerly experiences growing up. And I think it was in my childhood home, which I stayed into until I was about 20. And I think it was in my teen years, somewhere in there. I remember that outside my window, and there was an oak tree outside my window, and I was on a second floor. One year, there was this bundle of leaves that would not fall. It would not fall all winter long. And again, and there may have been another place I lived where I had this kind of experience. And so whenever a breeze came or the wind came, they would rustle. You know, so yeah, so what will hang on and nag me? Oh, Jihabya. It's one of the challengers. Oh my God. Fairies are kicking my butt, as they do. This is a nice card, but who wants to see Iris of the Rainbow leave? Okay, so 5. What will you see in the bare branches of late autumn? And this happens everywhere, I think, where you have birds, where you don't realize that there's a nest in a tree until all of the leaves fall, and you're like, oh, so that's where that bird had its nest, or whatever the case may be. So this would be things maybe to reflect back on once the leaves are stripped from the trees. Guardian of the Gate. So initiations, any initiations over the past year, I guess I would say. Maybe I will see them, or perhaps what this is indicating is that once the bare leaves or the old leaves are stripped, some kind of opening or portal or gate is going to become obvious. So I like this card, the image, because to me it's both a broom, it looks like a broom, and also like a gateway where all of this energy is funneling into, and this looks like a little nest here, doesn't it? I know I have a crappy webcam, so you probably couldn't see it, but it looks like a little sparkly nest right here. So all of this energy comes forward, and this is the way I see the energy. Other people might see it coming this way, but coming in, passing through this sparkly knot here, and then becoming more focused is how I see this card. And so that some way forward, or a gathering of energy, or bringing together of energy and a way forward, a passage of some kind, will be more obvious once all of the trappings of the leaves are stripped away. Very interesting. All right, so I feel like I get this card, and to some extent this card. Let's go back to Iris of the Rainbow. Number 1, what is exiting without resistance? You really want to leave, Iris? I think that's 32. I think she's one of the fairy guides. Iris of the Rainbow. And I'm just going to read kind of what the card is supposed to mean in a reading. Iris tells us that light is breaking through our present darkness. Well, there is literal then. I feel like the fairies are sticking their tongue out at me. What will exit without resistance? Well, the light is exiting, right? The light is diminishing. Like I said, I feel like that they're dancing in glee and they have just stuck their tongue out at me. It's like, oh, we're just telling you that, yes, the light's going away at this time of year. Anyway, Iris tells us that light is breaking through our present darkness, and that hope is a powerful factor in speeding up this process. She does not promise us that the storm is over, nor does she say that it will never storm again, but she does say that there is brightness and beauty here. She also tells us that there is something to be gained by this passage through the storm. And the sooner we learn what it is, the sooner the storm will end. So I guess there is an implication of a storm going on that provides the rainbow. And the rainbow could be the beginning or the end of the storm. So maybe maybe I shouldn't look at it negatively. What is exiting without resistance is that tail end of the storm, or maybe the need for hope is passing. And that does strike me as increasingly true in my life. Also, a passage through the storm, and of course this relates back to this, if we look at this also as a reflection of a more productive time, or seeing what was formed in hiding during the summertime and looking back at it and thinking about it. Always a passage through the storm is a time of potential growth, a time to allow the dead wood of our past to be blown away. Yep, it's very autumny, what we were just talking about, to make room for the green shoots of new growth. Yeah, didn't I just say that? Anyway, it's rooted in one of the questions there, what I just talked about. At this point, it is useful to ask ourselves what we still need to release, which is what I'm doing here. So this also strikes me as like when a tarot card pops out, or is the first card of a spread that is like, this is what you're asking, isn't it? It's like, yes, actually, that is what I'm asking. You understand exactly what I need. That's what I'm asking. Iris suggests that cultivation of patience may be helpful at this time. Oh, that could be something that is leaving without resistance. But I don't feel that at the moment. I don't feel super impatient. Let me read the reversed. Well, it says here, the storm is breaking up. Are we ready for change? I think I'm halfway ready for change. The reverse, it is true that there is hope and there is a promise for the future, but it is at present obscured or delayed. So if that obscured or delayed aspect, and I just talked that this could represent something hidden, that the bare, the stripping of the leaves makes more obvious, that delay, or is this a word, obscuration? I don't know, is departing without resistance. Okay, I'm not going to belabor that. Okay, or maybe I already have belabored it. In any case, we're moving on. Next question, what will go through a beautiful dramatic change before departing? The Master Maker. And he's also in the realm of the helpers, but he should be elevated. He should be one of the main fairies. But anyway, the Master Maker, skill, craftsmanship, magician, moral strength, invention. That's interesting, moral strength. What will go through a beautiful dramatic change before departing? I can't say I want my moral strength to depart. So let's see. And again, I'm going to go to what it is in a reading. Do whatever you do as well as you can, and then make it even better. The Master Maker reminds us that our very best work is always desirable, and in the present situation it is necessary for success. So this is striking me now as a push to do something, whatever it may be. There will be kind of an energetic, beautiful, dramatic, energetic push to do or complete something this fall. And I could see that in a couple of different ways, different aspects of my life. I wouldn't think of it as quite Master Maker energy, but certainly Master Doer energy, or I could sure use some of that Master Doer energy in my life to complete things. In fact, he asks that we surpass our previous best. Don't cut corners and don't take the easy way. Whether making a thing or fulfilling a concept, be sure the design is elegant, pure, and functional, and then follow it, attending to every detail in its turn. And really, this question, what will go through a beautiful dramatic change before departing, that's essentially how I have to work these days because of my health. Is if I have some energy, then I focus it and I do something to the best of my ability. I don't know that I'll be surpassing anything from the past, but to the best of my ability before I flame out. And that's the end of it. It's kind of a Lyme disease kind of a cycle. When you have a moment where you feel well, you overdo it essentially, and because it's it's going to be brief, and so you put your all into it. And I do have a habit of doing that, like doing too much and then collapsing to a lower level that I've been before. So it's something I have to be very aware of, to temper that urge to overdo. This card speaks of long-lasting achievement, creative problem solving, and confident action. It may suggest cooperation with others, which comes up here, especially from a position of responsibility or of teaching one's craft to others. Success comes from practical application of traditional principles in life and work. Okay. I get that. And I think it will be something that will, it could be, fall cleaning. I would love it if I have enough energy to do some fall cleaning. There are a number of tasks. They're not particularly creative, but, and I'm not making anything, but there are some tasks that I would love to do in this fall time if I have the energy to do them. And I don't know that they'll be beautiful and dramatic, but at least I'll get some things off my porch maybe, and just the end result will be more attractive. Let's just say that. All right, singer of connection. What is the nature of the wind that will shake things loose? And it was hinted at here, having others help. But let's take a look at the singer of connection. And it's card number 6. Keyword: spiritual connection, karma, balance, and empathy. Through the power of this singer, all connections are made, held, and released. As appropriate. Again, that's like, to me, it's like fall cleaning. And of course, it refers back to the whole losing of the leaves, etc. So we have the maker here. All things are made, held. We don't really have a holding here, and released, which is practically the whole spread, as appropriate. In a reading, this singer indicates the connection of things, especially reconnecting those that have been sundered. Okay, so I'm just noticing that this looks, it's interesting because in the guidebook, sometimes you can see it. It's a black and white or gray and white image, and sometimes you can see things that you don't see so much here. And I see this as a thistle. It looks like a thistle, with the blossom up here. Anyway, and it is the thistle, the thistle. I have Scottish heritage, and at one point I looked up the history of the thistle, and there's something about it. At one time, causing a marauding band approached the village, or our sleeping Scottish ancestors, and it was them, the marauding band, running into thistles and giving themselves away by exclaiming their pain, that saved something important. Like, the battle could have been lost, but the battle was won because the thistle gave a warning. So there is that connection, and connections. The more connections you have, allies you have, the more likely you are to be successful. It tells us that we need to be aware of the connections between different aspects of the issue under discussion, as well as the connections between the people linked by it. We also may need to build more connections and network of mutual support. So this is, what is the nature of the wind that is going to shake things loose? The presence of the singer of connection in a reading indicates support and strength flowing through the connections between those involved. So that's almost like having a fall cleaning party, or certainly inviting others in to help one with any task of letting go or of change. Might not even be letting go. Maybe you're repainting something, and this is saying, think about the other people involved and invite in others. And I think this comes up in part now. I don't know about anybody else. I mean, I was hermitish to begin with, but through the pandemic, and again, particularly my situation, because, I mean, I've been catching colds even though I'm wearing masks, so it's like I'm just aware of that I expose myself whenever I go out, and so I'm in now a habit of isolation. And so I think this is coming up for me, saying it's time to break that habit of isolation. And when you break that habit of isolation, it will facilitate change. Even if it's just, like I said, if I was going to paint the walls, going to the hardware store and having somebody help me pick out paint. That's more social than I'm being right now. So, consulting people, etc. And I think there's something here with it being the wind, that once someone is consulted, things will happen really fast. And to be honest, I think I have some reservations about that. There are some things where I do need to make some connections, and I'm procrastinating or hesitating. And I think this is why. It's because I know that once I do, there's going to be a whoosh, and I don't quite feel ready for the whoosh yet. So, what will hang on and nag you? So appropriate to get Jihabia for this, even though I wasn't wanting it. It even looks like dried leaves, practically, What will hang on and nag you through windy winter nights until new growth replaces it? Jihabia, I think, is like the classic bogeyman in this deck. Classic bogeyman. He is among the challengers. 61. Imaginary fears, unreal hazards, unrealistic caution. But yeah, imaginary fears, unreal hazards. So those are the things that are kind of making me hesitate to bring in certain professionals. Yeah. So I feel like that the fairies are holding a mirror up to me, partly what needs to be done, and kind of what I'm hesitant about here. Okay. It is time to look for the truth behind our fears, to distinguish between what is real and what is just our projection of old traumas and fears into our imaginary future. Yes. And it's like I feel it, I know it, but I'm not completely able to release it. Tippy-toeing into the future. By delving into our old patterns, we can see past them into a more liberating life. I would question that. I think that the old patterns need to be recognized as patterns and just discarded. Maybe that's part of what needs to be discarded. At least in my case, I feel like, and I feel like the trauma is around my illness, and that it needs to be discarded. And I need to believe that another way for things to go is possible. Okay. Okay, I'm just seeing. I'll just read it. Only by facing these fears honestly and seeing them for what they are do we gain greater ability to open our hearts to the singer of courage, and gain in strength to face the really difficult challenges in our lives. Each false fear confronted and resolved makes us much stronger. And the thing is, I don't know if my fears are false fears or not. But apparently, whether real or false, they're going to continue to rattle around until I move in the direction of the things that worry me. And that's bound to happen. It's going to happen in any case. But there will, I think, be difficulties or uncertainty before new growth can happen. So I don't think this is something where I can force new growth. Jihabya is going to be with me. And there it is. It's going to be with me through the windy winter nights until new growth replaces it, which can't happen until certain things are resolved and that wind passes through. But the wind does not knock down Jihabya. It might transform him a little bit, but yeah, but that wind going through, I feel, creates the possibility for change that will eventually the wind will end. Eventually there will be new growth. The winter will end and there will be new growth. But yeah, have to deal with Jihabya in the meantime. Alright, the guardian of the gate. What will you see in the bare branches of late autumn? We pretty much covered that. I can take a brief scan to see what this says, but I feel like I get that. And that appears to be number 3. Passages to new life, openings, gatekeeping. So I think it is the opening or transformation, what needs to be done for transformation. This is pretty lengthy. And we're already at 32, so I'm not going to read it. So yeah, like what I said in the beginning, just maybe seeing the passages that have been gone through. Yeah. And being more focused in the future. Alright, so there it is. There's my contribution to the notion of an autumn leaves spread. And it was fun to get out the fairies and feel their energy. They're kind of blunt energy sometimes. And mysterious. Mysterious and blunt. They're sideways way of approaching things sometimes, and some amusingly direct. The light is fading, yes. Anyway, take care, everyone. Those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, I hope you're enjoying the onset of fall. I do. We don't have strong. It hasn't fully set in here in the South, but we're feeling it. I'm feeling the beginnings of it. So, and I love the fall time. So take care, everyone.